Good evening, good evening. It's show time. Listen, looking forward to this one. We're here to learn a little bit more about the great Botafogo. And whether you're watching from here, whether you're watching on Glorious Botafogo stream, because it's co-streaming at the moment, or off the Twitter feed, feel free to chuck in your comments. We're looking forward to hearing from you. And if you've got any questions too, please chuck that in as well. Let me introduce my co-host first and foremost before we come to the guests. So welcome, Jordan.
Yo, yo, yo. It's your boy back again.
And we have Nate with us as well.
Eagle-eyed football in the house.
Absolutely, absolutely. Pedro, obviously we've done a stream together and we've got many more to come as well.
That is correct.
Thank you for coming on and thank you for being to allow us to learn about your beautiful club.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you. Thank you guys for having me. First and foremost, we've been looking forward to this for a long time now. Rich and I have been trying to plan this for at least a month or more. And yeah, I'm glad to finally do this. I'm happy to talk to you guys and answer anything along with Duda here. Anything you guys want to know.
Brilliant. And welcome to Duda, who will be speaking in her native Portuguese. And Pedro will be here to translate. So how are you, Duda?
O Glorioso vai traduzir tudo para mim aí, porque a mim algumas coisas eu entendo, outras ainda estou fugindo aí.
She said I'll just like you said, I'll translate things for her. She's learning English right now, so she's trying. Duda perguntar como é que você tá?
I'm fine. Bem, tô feliz pra caramba com o Botafogo que tá surgindo aí.
Yeah, we're very happy to have you here. Thank you for agreeing to do this. Let's kick off with the first question. Describe Botafogo as a club.
Duda, eles estão perguntando pra gente descrever o Botafogo como um clube. Você quer começar ou você quer que eu vá primeiro?
Você vai, porque para descrever o Botafogo é indescritível, na verdade. Mas você pode começar.
Duda said it well just now. It's hard to describe. You know, I'm pretty sure if we were to ask you guys, describe Palace, football's not a natural, feeling. It's very, it takes over you and you can't really describe the things that you're feeling, the things that you do when you're watching a match, when your team scores a goal. It's very hard to, I'm trying to find the correct word. It's very hard to make, your judgment fails you sometimes. So Botafogo, man, I'm sure you guys have about the same answer about Palace, the greatest club in the world. It's a club with a lot of tradition. It's a club that, in the 50s and the 60s and the 70s, we had to travel overseas because nobody was good enough to play against us. And over the years, our club suffered at the hands of amateurs, at the hands of people that don't know what they're doing, and it almost bankrupted us. But that's the essence of Botafogo, the fans. I guess if I had to really narrow down to something, the fans are the club. We stick with the club through and through. Every time we've been relegated, every time we've come up, and back in the A tier of our league, basically just being there, not fighting for anything, just below mid-tier table, very far away from what we were used to experiencing. So if it wasn't for the fans, I think this club would have been long gone. So if I had to narrow down, say the fans are Botafogo and Botafogo are the fans. We're one, basically. Yeah, I don't want to sound cliche, but that's really what it is.
Sure.
Duda, pode falar aí que eu traduzo para você.
Descrever o Botafogo é algo indescritível, porque é como a gente fala, nós fomos escolhidos, nós não escolhemos. Botafogo está na minha vida muito antes de eu nascer por uma profecia. Um torcedor muito conhecido aqui no Brasil passou a mão na barriga da minha mãe e falou: essa daí, quando crescer, vai ser botafoguense. E a profecia se cumpriu.
She was saying that when she was a young girl, a very famous Botafogo supporter said that, put the hand on her mom's belly and said that when she's born, when she grows up, she will be a Botafogo fan. And then, she's a Botafogo fan now. But it's you can't describe it, what it is to be a Botafogo fan and what it is to be Botafogo.
Exatamente. E a torcida do Botafogo, ela tem esse costume de abraçar, né? Teve um torcedor do Cristal que me perguntou por que nós estamos abraçando o Crystal Palace. Simplesmente porque nos tornamos irmãos. E nós abraçamos quem também está do nosso lado. Então, por isso que os torcedores do Cristal se tornaram os nossos irmãos e serão muito bem-vindos quando vierem ao Brasil.
Duda said that Botafogo fans were very receptive. We welcome everybody. So this is why, in case some Crystal Palace fans were wondering why we were so keen to take you in, basically, and become part of our families, because just how we are. The Brazilian people in general are very friendly people, very welcoming people. You're gonna have the snobs like everywhere else, but we can't wait to have you guys come to Brazil and do exchanges, and us going over there and just really become, for lack of a better word, really become an extended family.
Well, yeah, and going into that more is that we would probably consider ourselves pretty well supported club, and we would like to make a good atmosphere in our stadium. Would you say that would be reciprocated in Botafogo as well? As
far as Palace fans going over there?
No, I'm saying more of the fact of in your stadium when it's match day, is it a great atmosphere in there also?
Oh yes. Yes, there's tons of videos, man, you can pull up, and the whole crowd just going ba da. The whole stadium just, it doesn't matter who's singing on the other end, we will dwarf them. That is for sure. Dude, ele tava falando que lá do Crystal Palace eles cantam bastante, eles apoiam. Perguntou se é a mesma coisa lá no Brasil.
É a mesma coisa.
We are the same way.
Aqui a torcida canta até o último minuto, desde o início até o último minuto, não importa a circunstância. A torcida do Botafogo ela é diferenciada por isso. A gente apoia, como diz o hino, vamos te apoiar até o final, e é isso que a gente faz. Vou te apoiar até o final.
Duda was saying that our club anthem, there's a phrase in there that says, "We will support you until the end," and that is something that we really take to heart. We will support the club until the end, whenever that is. Hopefully never, but until the end.
Well, yeah, we had some pretty near the end moments for us, but our fans kept us in it. We went down to the bank, protested outside until we got a new guy to come and buy us and own us again in Steve Parish, and thank God he did, because if he didn't, then we wouldn't be sitting here right now. We wouldn't have a club anymore.
O Duda, ele falou que os torcedores do Palace também são muito apaixonados, porque eles foram até o banco, eles ficaram na porta do banco protestando, até sair uma pessoa de lá para comprar o clube deles. O clube tava falindo, entendeu?
Nossa.
Então, se não fosse pelo o Steve Parish, esse clube deles não existiria mais hoje.
É basicamente quase a mesma situação do Botafogo, né? Só que o Botafogo, nesse caso, está um pouquinho mais superior, digamos assim. A gente também estava já na beira de fechar as portas também financeiramente. E houve essa esperança para a gente do John. E o momento que o Botafogo está vivendo, aliás, que vai começar a viver, é um ótimo momento e eu estou muito feliz por isso.
She's saying that it's funny how our stories are the same. Their history, it's very, very close. There's been many times where we were on the edge of bankruptcy. For example, in 2003, we didn't even have a place to practice.
Whoa.
We didn't have a place to practice because our funds were just gone. And then in 2019, 2020, the pandemic came around. We were basically selling players from the academy just to be able to pay 2-3 months worth of the players' wages. So
wow.
Whenever because I've showed Rich before. I've had some interactions with some Palace fans that are very, very weary about this. They're very not so sure about why we are so happy at this moment. It's not because we're selling the club's identities, because we weren't sure as well if we were going to have a club for very much longer if it wasn't for John Textor coming in and helping us out, Duda, eu falei para eles que eu tive umas conversas no Twitter com alguns torcedores do Palace e alguns deles estão bem assim, com a pulga atrás da orelha sobre Botafogo, essas coisas assim. Eu falei que é quase a mesma coisa, porque se não fosse pelo John Textor, ninguém sabe como é que ia ser o clube, né?
Nós sofremos durante muito tempo aí com uma diretoria totalmente amadora, né? Onde agora que entrou o profissionalismo, a gente está meio que assustado, porque é tudo muito novo. Mas a história dos dois clubes, do Cristal e do Botafogo, elas meio que batem, né? Como se fosse a mesma coisa, e nos tornamos irmãos por causa disso, que além de termos o mesmo investidor, seja por uma parte maior ou menor em algum clube, mas que agora as histórias se completam. Então, Botafogo e Crystal Palace são irmãos.
Duda was saying that this is why we were so welcoming, is because it's almost like we put ourselves in your shoes as well, because we know how that feels like to not know if you're going to have a club, and it's not because we have an investor, it's really because we have our club. We still have our club, and it just kind of happens that we have the same investor, but our stories are pretty similar, so that's why we were super keen and super welcoming to every Palace fan.
Well, that's awesome. Before we come to Nate with the next question, Pedro, if you don't mind, for our English-speaking fans, just to chuck up some comments.
Sure. It says, Pedro and everyone, black and white greetings.
Saudações.
Good afternoon, my friends. From William Pires Lima. Reinaldo Gomes da Silva. Black and white greetings. That's something that we say a lot, by the way.
Sure.
And supporters of our new brothers, Crystal Palace. It's like Williams Pires Lima. I didn't even watch the Premier League, but now that Crystal Palace is part of the family, I'm always watching the games and always supporting Palace.
Oh, I love that.
Wicked.
Here in Brazil, the boards of the teams are almost never professional. They're usually amateurs. So in Europe, we were basically being managed by the fans without really any sort of professional leadership. Because before, and this is not, he didn't say this, but before we used to have ex-presidents or ex-board members that had a lot of money to come in and help us, like to buy balls or to be able to pay for kits, stuff like that. That's how bad of a financial hardship we were going through in the early 2000s.
Master's come through here saying that maybe one of our jerseys needs to be black and white. As long as we're not looking like Newcastle, then we're all good.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, when seeing that comment, that in some of the advertising boards at Selhurst, they're actually advertising the Botafogo app, and they're actually advertising, and we're sponsoring you guys, and we're making you guys more in the eye of the viewer for the actual view of the Premier League. So it's like shifting the viewers over to the Brazilian league a bit more as well. I was going to say, are they doing that the other way around as well at the Botafogo Stadium, or?
Yes. So, Duda, eles estão falando que lá no estádio do Crystal Palace, eles estão botando muita propaganda do Botafogo, entendeu? Como
eu sonhei com isso.
O aplicativo e tal. Então, eles estão perguntando se lá no Newton Santos tem alguma coisa parecida. E agora, no Newton, tem a camisa deles, né? No quadro de vidro lá. So, in our stadium, our Newton Santos Stadium, there's a place where there's a Palace jersey within a glass casing. So everybody that goes through, they see the Crystal Palace jersey in the glass casing.
Fala para eles que tem torcedores que querem levar a bandeira também do Crystal Palace durante os jogos do Botafogo também. Camisa.
There's Botafogo supporters that take Palace jerseys, like the one you're wearing right now, Rich. Palace flags and stuff like that. So we've adopted this new movement, I guess, if you want to call it that way.
I saw a great video of a Botafogo scoring, and then they're panning around the crowd, and you see one guy in there with a Palace shirt on. You're thinking, that's cool.
Yeah, there's pictures of people outside the stadium wearing this exact jersey that Rich and I have, the yellow one, and it stands out because it's yellow, so you can really like point it out. You know.
It's one. Just two more comments before Nate jumps in. Sorry, Nate, I didn't mean to cut you.
Sure you didn't.
Só fala para eles que eles têm sorte das cores do time deles não ser preto e branco, porque aqui ia dar ruim.
She said that it's really nice that your team's colors are not red and black. Because it would have been very, very hard to support you guys if it was red and black.
Well, if yours were blue and white, this would not go well for us either. So I think we're good. We don't like blue and white, so we can understand that.
Ouviu, Duda? Entendeu?
Mais ou menos, traduz o restante que eu só entendi uma parte.
Ele falou que mesma coisa que se o nosso uniforme fosse branco e azul, também a coisa não seria bonita, não.
A minha camisa é branca e azul do Cristal que eu comprei. Ai, meu Deus do céu.
William Pires Lima. Let's see. So whenever we see a board that has more, they're more capable of doing things. The next one that comes in, when they do a good job, the next one can always come and undo what the previous one did. So that's something that we went through a lot, where this particular president or board did a really good job of kind of putting us back on track, but then the people that come after would just undo everything. It's a lot of politics involved. Tem muita política no clube, né, Duda? Igual o William Pires está falando aqui.
Muita coisa. Isso é uma parte que a gente se livrou, né? Digamos assim, que aquela parte da diretoria amadora que nós tínhamos, agora está assumindo, e o Botafogo ele começou uma nova era, uma era de, digamos assim, de profissionalismo, na verdade. Porque nós temos visto muito isso, muitas contratações sendo feitas em secreto, muito planejamento feito a 7 chaves, coisas que antigamente não aconteciam, contratações que às vezes o torcedor colocava o nome de um jogador e aí a diretoria lá e contratava, não tinha o esquema do scout, que agora, né, é feito de uma maneira correta. Eu tô amando esse novo Botafogo, para mim tá tudo certo.
Duda saying that she loves this new Botafogo that we're seeing right now. Everything being done professionally. Every player signing is done, behind closed walls. Nothing's out in the public. We only really know when it's really close. To where before, my God, this is really embarrassing. But before, the supporters would throw a name out on Twitter, and then the guy from the board be like, "Is that guy good?" He'd be like, "Yeah,
exatamente.
Yeah, he's good." And then they would go and try to hire the guy that the fans would say, no scouting done, nothing professionally done, just word of mouth. It's like, what are you doing, man?
Mate, I could have had a job.
Yeah, you could have had a job, man.
Oh man.
So that's how things were, and it's ridiculous how much amateurs would get in the way and put their image first behind, in front of the clubs, where the clubs should always come first. And then if they do a good job, then you can commend them for doing a good job. But not, they want a pat in the back for signing a mediocre player.
Oh, that's all for ego, Pedro. That's all that is. It's not even to do with the benefit of Botafogo.
No.
What I was going to say, though, is that you mentioned your club anthem talks about lasting forever. We adopted a song that's our club anthem from the 60s called Glad All Over. And that song also mentions that our love will last now till the end of time. Now, obviously, it has no affiliation with Crystal Palace because the band were from the other side of the city. But at every home game, that's the one song that's played before when the teams come out. It's played after we win. Kind of played when we score a goal, which I've never been a fan of goal music personally, but everybody has their own tastes. But I think the few Palace fans that probably aren't embracing this, they're just afraid that this is going to be, for want of a better word, something like what happened at Manchester City, where there's clubs connected that make no sense, if for want of a better word, like Manchester City opening up New York City FC in America. That's just basically Manchester City in America. It's not a case of they're trying to give both clubs a respective brand, where we all know what these kind of clubs are. But what I will say is that the Palace fans that are kind of skeptical about this, that's fair enough. We understand that. There's probably Botafogo fans that are probably just as skeptical. But I did a little bit of reading into it and thought, you know what? There's an awful lot of similarities there, which I wasn't expecting. So for me, it wasn't necessarily a bigger shock. It was like, no, hold on a minute. That sounds eerily familiar. Because for every time we've looked good, there's been a massive collapse, and it's like, well, that was a false dawn. Just when we think we'd cracked it, there was Oldham in 1993. We thought we'd stayed up, so we had a lap of honour around the pitch to celebrate staying up. The next game, the next day, another team that was in the relegation battle with us, they won and we got relegated. It's like, well, that's embarrassing. Just when we thought we'd got it, and it was taken from us. But there's been moments recently since the 90s where we've come so close and no cigar, as we say in English.
Duda, ele falou que tem muito torcedor do Palace que tá assim, estranhando um pouco, né? Só que ele fez uma pesquisa sobre Botafogo que ele viu que tinha muita coisa em comum entre Botafogo e Crystal Palace. Ele falou que também o Palace também era assim, né? Tinha diretoria, tinha um momento que vinha, um momento bom, e depois do próximo jogo ou na próxima diretoria a coisa desanda, entendeu? Então ele contou uma história que em 93 eles estavam quase sendo rebaixados. Eles ganharam o jogo.
E foi quando a gente foi campeão da Sul-Americana, não é isso? 93?
É. E aí em 93 eles ganharam o jogo, fizeram a volta olímpica no campo, né? Tipo assim, conseguimos ficar na primeira divisão. Aí o outro time que estava na zona de rebaixamento ganhou, passaram por eles e eles foram rebaixados.
Como assim, gente?
I just told her the story that you told me about the team winning and then Palace being relegated after you guys did the whole lap around the field.
É o famoso, tem coisas que só acontecem com Botafogo. Agora a frase passa para eles, né? São coisas que só acontecem com Cristal.
So there's a phrase in Brazil that we say, there's things that only happen to Botafogo. So she's like, that's very similar to sometimes something that happens to us. And so now you can say there's only things that happens in Crystal Palace.
Yeah, we call it typical Palace. Like Manchester City, we call it typical City. It's just, let's say, for example, we're playing the team that hasn't won in 6 weeks. They haven't won in 6 months, and they beat us. It's like, no, that's typical Palace, that. We could win every game until we play this team, and then we lose to them. It's like, yeah, that's right.
Charity Professional Football Club.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Charity Professional Football Club, CPFC. Charity Professional Football Club, as I like to call it.
Duda, Botafogo ressuscitando morto, você conhece essa, né?
Ai, muito.
I just told her Botafogo sometimes is known for reviving the dead, basically. Is what we call it in Brazil. The team can
Muita coisa.
not play, not win, and then they'll play us, and they're back.
Yeah.
I like that saying, reviving the dead. I like that.
Botafogo adora ressuscitar morto. Oh, meu Deus.
She just said
Nunca vi
Botafogo
igual.
loves to revive dead clubs.
Ragnar, I think this is aimed at us guys. What is his view on Brazilian football? Which Brazilian clubs does he know about? Well, there's only one club to know about now, isn't there?
That's right.
Botafogo. But to obviously answer your question, we do know about the F team that we shall not mention. So they have the same rule, by the way, where we don't say the B team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We don't say that. There's an F word. We don't say that. There's a B word. They don't say. Yeah. We hear that.
Vasco, Fluminense, Corinthians, Santos.
And actually, Corinthians have a link to South London because Corinthian Casuals inspired Corinthians.
Yes.
Because Corinthian Casuals are one of the most successful non-league teams in English football history. And obviously, I think they'd gone over to Brazil for some kind of a pre-season friendly or something like that. And the name stuck with the local supporters, and they adopted the name ever since. So there are tenuous links between Brazil and South London, the same way there's a tenuous link between parts of Wales and Argentina. Obviously, we're not trying to talk about Argentina here, but what I'm saying is that names that sound familiar to us is like, that sounds very familiar. There's a link to it, even if at first glance you wouldn't think it. Like Corinthians, you wouldn't assume comes from South London. You're like, what? Then you realize, Corinthian Casuals. Now it makes sense.
Duda, ele tá falando que tem muita coisa que é similar entre o futebol da Inglaterra e do Brasil, que falou que tem um time lá na Inglaterra que não é profissional, que se chama Corinthians Casuals. Então, quando eles foram lá para o Brasil, o pessoal lá de São Paulo, né, o Corinthians de São Paulo, acabou adotando o nome. Ele falou que é por isso que o Corinthians tem esse nome Corinthians. E eu não sabia disso, pra falar a verdade.
Eu estava desconfiando de que pudesse ter alguma semelhança enquanto ele estava falando. Eu me assemelhei ao nome do Fluminense, ao Santos, ao Corinthians. Só que eu gostaria de falar um negócio aqui. Tem alguém no comentário colocando Flamengo. Dá para expulsar essa pessoa daqui ou não?
Rich, she's asking if you can kick the person out that keeps putting Flamengo in the comments.
Moss.
I hate Flamengo. I hate Flamengo.
Is that a swear? Because Pedro just said it.
Yeah.
And so did Duda.
I'll put money in the swear jar.
That's one word closer to the one chip challenge with Rich.
Well, realistically, JC Statman Dan should be doing the one chip challenge with Rich the way he was moving, firing them off.
Oh man,
that's why he's in Brazil. Like I keep saying, that's why he ran to Brazil. He was like, I'm not doing that. I'm gone. Yeah. I'm on the first plane out to Brazil.
That's why he said, "Oh no, my Wi-Fi's bad. My Wi-Fi's bad."
He wants nothing to do with that one chip challenge, and I know Rich is sweating about it. It's like, oh no, please no.
Shout out Statman Dan, by the way.
Big him up every time, and big up Palace Elmo as well.
Yeah, I was gonna ask another question. It's not on the it's not on our script tonight, but
no, go for it.
From what we said about the transfers and how you said things have changed, has that changed since? Has it changed to be more under wraps, the transfers, ever since Textor came in? Because I feel like that's something that Parish does very well, and he has done very well with us for a while. That we know about transfers literally nearly when it's done. Like for example, with Michael Elise, it was just done. We didn't even hear a rumor about it. So we're thinking that maybe some of what Parish is doing, maybe Textor's bringing that over to you guys as well, so you guys can make some more shrewd signings or similar to us.
Duda, ele tá perguntando sobre as transferências, sobre sigilo, né? Que lá na Inglaterra, com Steve Parish, o Crystal Palace não se ouve falar das transferências só quando acontece mesmo. Como foi o caso do...
É bom, né?
She said, yeah, that's the way it should be. That's what she said. That's the way that should happen. But in Brazil, So Brazilian fans are not used to this, right? They're used to starting. They want to watch the movie and know the end of the movie before you get to the end. Like Brazilian fans love to be spoiled about transfers. So John Textor kind of had to give in a little bit, I would say. I don't know if he did it on purpose or not, but he's like, hey, we're bringing in 6 to 8 players. Hey, I want to get a player like this. Or like, for example, Edinson Cavani. He came out and said, I want to sign Edinson Cavani for Botafogo. So he's going over there and he's negotiating with Edinson Cavani right now. He turned down 2 offers already. So we're going for the third. Hopefully the third one is a charm. But Brazilian fans are used to this. So when things are happening behind the scenes, we're like, wait a second, what's going on? Where are the reinforcements? Like, we don't see speculations. Like, what is going on? What is that? The tournament is 1 month away and we don't have a team. And then all of a sudden, last Tuesday was bam, 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 bam. Like 4 players at once. And we were like, oh, I guess something is happening after all. You know? Duda, eu falei para eles que no Brasil a gente está acostumado a saber o final do filme antes do filme começar. A negociação. A gente já sabe qual que é o jogador antes mesmo de começar a negociação. Porque lá não tem sigilo nenhum. Então eu falei para ele que o John Textor meio que teve que se adaptar um pouco nesse nosso costume de querer saber das negociações, que ele falou, vai ter 6 a 8 jogadores chegando, que eu vou tentar contratar o Cavani e tal. Aí na terça-feira passada foi uns 4, um atrás do outro. Bom, 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 entendeu?
Cavani seria meu sonho no Botafogo, eu sou muito fã dele, mas 4,5 milhões por mês.
Yeah, she says she's a very big fan of Cavani, but he's asking for a lot of money. He would be like the best paid player in the league by 2 million euros, which is a lot in Brazil. It might not seem a lot over there, but in Brazil, that is a lot. I mean, he would dwarf every salary in the league by quite a bit. So that's a lot of money.
Cavani likes to pick and choose when he plays anyway, so
that is true. That is true, which is why we're also going after Zahavi, which is the striker from PSV, the Israeli striker. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Zahavi, but he's got some incredible numbers. I mean, he's up there with Lewandowski as far as like current European top scorers. So it's like, how come we don't hear more about him and we hear about the other ones, you know?
Well, yeah, we've got our eye on one PSV player. Yeah, we doubt that would happen.
JC, you never know.
Well, then again, with Textor, you never know. He did start his whole football career at Palace, so you never know. Madueke could come back again.
Well, you know, it makes sense him coming home. I mean, you know, unfortunately, when he left, we were Cat 2, so we stood no chance in letting him go to Tottenham.
Yeah.
But the difference is that this wasn't a Bostock situation. To explain, Pedro, we had a player in 2008 who was our youngest ever player. He played for us at the age of 15. He was just shy of his 16th birthday when he made his debut. He was a season ticket holder, lifelong fan, the whole lot. So his stepdad was a fan, he was a fan. But Tottenham tried to sign him from us. And when you've got a Category 2 academy, if a Category 1 academy like Tottenham, Arsenal, or any of the big teams, they try to sign them, they don't have to pay the fee you want. They pay what they can pay what they want. And if you disagree, it goes to a tribunal. The court decided that they had to pay us £750,000, which, being a championship club at the time, was nothing.
Wow.
And this is someone that was touted to sign for possibly Barcelona at the time he was playing for us, because he was very highly rated amongst a lot of people in England. And then he never played a game for Tottenham. For all that trouble they went to bring him in, they never gave him a game. So when he got released, the year we got promoted, we were looking at it thinking, so they took him for 750 grand and never gave him a chance to show, was he worth that money? So with John Textor, it feels like he's adamant to keep our best academy players, which he'll probably do for Botafogo as well. Because for years and years and years, we've seen great young talent slip through our net where we're thinking, how the hell did we let that one go? And that's what Textor's trying to do, is that he's adamant that the clubs he's got a stake in, he wants to invest, but not just invest for the sake of investing. He wants to build and give a positive impact, because like you said, you've had financial troubles and we've had them. 2010, we very nearly went extinct. And there were tenuous links to P. Diddy trying to buy us. It's like, oh God, please no. And Colonel Gaddafi as well. I was like, oh Lord, no. Do you know what? The English contingent will understand this. Do you know what? I'd rather Noddy buy us than bloody Colonel Gaddafi.
Wait for Noddy.
Yeah.
We're saying the ball gets delivered to the centre circle, but in his car.
Oh, 100%.
Mate, you'd rather get bought by Bram.
Look, it can't be any worse than our friends in SE7 having a sofa in their stadium. Like, it was bad, but we weren't that bad.
Let me just translate to it before I have too much information on the hard drive and I get an error. Duda, eles estavam falando que lá no Crystal Palace, muitas vezes, igual ao Botafogo, tinha muito talento na base e que chegava um clube lá, dava o que queria e levava o jogador.
É igual aqui.
Igual ao Brasil. What you said about just a team to come in and just offering what they want and just taking your best young players and doing whatever they want, that is something that we saw many, 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 many times with Botafogo. It happened over and over again. We were so tired of it happening. And the last time this happened was actually in the transition between the 21 and 22 season, when we had a striker. Vou falar do Navarro agora, Duda. We had a striker, Rafael Navarro, his name. Him and our center attacking mid, Shai, they were the best players of the B League that we were playing in. And if it wasn't for those two, we would have probably not gotten promoted. Maybe promoted, but definitely not champions. But we tried to renew the contract for Navarro, and his agent's like, well, they're offering this much, so we're just gonna go there. Even though Navarro is a spoken Botafogo supporter, he's a supporter of the club. He just went. He's at Palmeiras now, and he's not even playing. He played 2 games. He missed a penalty kick. So in Brazil, we have to call it's called the black curse, a maldição alvinegra. When a player leaves the club on bad terms, that curse will follow them, and they're screwed for quite a few amount of seasons. And we see that happening over and over again, which is why we say there's a thing called the black curse in Botafogo, that players leave through the back door. On bad terms, they usually do pretty badly after they leave the club. And Navarro is young, 21, 22 years old, maybe at the most. And he's just warming the bench. Could have been here playing and starting.
O caso do Navarro, ele foi mais pelo lado do empresário, porque muitas vezes o empresário ele estraga o jogador. No caso do Navarro, o que aconteceu ali é que ele ficou chateado porque o Botafogo não chamou quando foi necessário, né? Assim que eu ouvi, né? Que quando o Botafogo tinha que ter chamado ele para renovar, o Botafogo não chamou, e aí meio que em cima da hora chamou para renovar, e aí ele já tinha essas conversas durante 4 meses com o Palmeiras, e aí largou o Botafogo, onde ele já tinha a posição dele consolidada, onde ele já tinha caído nas graças da torcida, onde a torcida o acolheu, pediu para ficar, só que ele foi seguido pelo empresário. E quando se vai pelo empresário, muitas vezes a maldição alvinegra funciona, entendeu? A gente não quer que o jogador se lasque, a gente não quer, porque tem o nosso nome no meio. Só que quando vai pelo lado do empresário, aconteceu aí, ele quase não está jogando, e quando joga de titular está indo mal, e pelo que eu soube, ele já tem até venda dele, propostas de venda dele para países de fora. Então, é uma coisa que eu, lamentavelmente, não gosto quando acontece esse negócio de empresário, quando estraga o jogador. É o que aconteceu com o Navarro, e eu temo pelo Matheus Nascimento.
So she said that a lot of times in Brazil, the agent will steer the player in the wrong way. And it's usually due to financial reasons, to earn more, to get a bigger fee when they get the transfer, blah, 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 yada, yada. Because we tried to renew Navarro's contract, but if there's one criticism that we can give the previous Botafogo administration is that Navarro wasn't doing all that great. But then all of a sudden, he just kind of found his rhythm, found himself, started scoring goals and giving assists. Very smart player. So then when it was time to come to renew, Navarro felt a little bit hurt because when he wasn't doing well, we weren't really caring about renewing his contract. But then once he started scoring goals and doing well, we went after him. It was like, hey, let's renew the contract when they were already talking to Palmeiras behind Botafogo's back. And she said that the black curse is not something that like we're particularly proud of, but it's usually something that happens when they leave out of greed or something like that. And she fears for Nascimento for something like that happens to him, which I don't think it will now with John Textor in the mix, but you never know.
Nascimento, he's a good player.
Terrific player, man.
Deixa ele com a gente, por favor. Não venha de olho nele da gente, não. Deixa ele aqui.
Yeah, keep him here. She's saying, keep him here. Keep him here.
Well, yeah, we've got our own Nascimento that we bought coming through from Peterborough, didn't we?
Yeah, Adler.
Yeah. He looks like a good talent as well.
Yeah. Pedro, before we move on, a few more comments, please.
Okay, William said he knew that about Corinthians, that their name was inspired on an English team. Just like our uniform, the Botafogo uniform, the black and white, was inspired by Juventus.
All right.
Dessa eu não sabia.
Oh, okay. This guy's asking. So basically, what are the numbers that they were looking for Cavani? Are you sure that he's a good option? So he thinks that Cavani is basically just a marketing signing.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It'll
be a big name.
Yeah, he's a big name to get big sponsors to bring in more money. If you're talking about numbers, I prefer Zahavi, honestly. But Cavani would be great. I'm not complaining about Cavani either. If he wants to come, he can come. That's what he's saying. Let's bring Zahavi.
Okay.
Esse aí que tá falando do Flamengo, ó.
Oh, Moss FC is the one that's talking about Flamengo.
Another swear, Pedro. Another swear.
That's two.
Aí a gente canta a musiquinha pra ele. You never walk alone. Liverpool mandou abraço.
She says Liverpool sends a hug, Moss FC.
Oh, referring to their game just in
the other day. Dude is trolling.
So let me ask you guys a question before we also move on, because I talked to a Palace supporter, and apparently there's some sort of connection. Trust me, I hear it enough. There's some sort of connection between Romário, which is a striker, and Crystal Palace and the F team, which I'm not sure where that came from, but some Palace fans saying that you could even see the jerseys of that team in your games in the stadium. Is that correct?
I'm aware of.
Eu perguntei para eles se qual essa ligação que o Crystal Palace tem com o time da Praia do Pinto.
Tu mutou o microfone. Teu microfone tá mudo.
Sorry.
Agora voltou.
Ele falou que eu perguntei para ele qual essa ligação do time da Praia do Pinto com o Palace, porque os torcedores de lá, eles gostam muito do Romário. Eu perguntei para ele, sabe de onde vem isso? Eles não sabem. So you guys have no idea where this came from. Romário.
I think that's what we call taking the piss. That might be somebody just trying to have a bit of fun at your expense, making you think that that's the case, but it doesn't sound right.
Huh? Because it wasn't just him; it was a couple, or even more than just a couple, talking about Romario and this and that. And I'm like, well, okay, well, he was a great striker.
That does sound like a wind up, because Romario, there's no links between us and Romario. But to be fair, that's just English humor for you. That there's always a bit of a wind up element towards it. But
that's probably a Wikipedia job.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
The only team that you'd really see their jerseys or their shirts at our stadium would be a Greek team called Panionios, because there's a friendship there between their ultras and our ultras, and that's been going since I think 2005. I think, so because they wear red and blue, as do we. So it's kind of you've got some of their guys coming to our stadium, and some of ours go to their stadium. Obviously now with Botafogo, and this being a mutual link between ourselves and yourselves with John Texter, I think you'll see more awareness of Botafogo amongst South Londoners, because obviously we had no clue what a Botafogo even was prior to this move by John Texter to implement your club and our club as part of his portfolio. But that's the beauty of it, is that it's opened our eyes to a club that we knew nothing about. And you now have a window into a football club that you probably knew very little about, because obviously we're in London, and we're the only team in our part of the city in the Premier League, but we're not one of the big names that is associated with London football, because you've got Arsenal, Chelsea, Tottenham, and West Ham. They'd be the four teams that everybody knows would be in London. You know, we're not on their level, but because we're the only team south of the river, because there's three other teams. I'm not going to say their names because I don't want to be swearing on the stream. But needless to say, we played one of them in the FA Cup earlier on in the year, and that was very, very hard to watch at times. But the enjoyable thing for us is that we now have a window into a new part of the footballing landscape we knew nothing of, and so do you. And it's kind of a mutual thing where we both have very, very similar moments where you're like, that sounds like something that would happen to us. You know, so it's nice that we have something that's familiar, rather than you've got 600 league titles and we've just got a Zenelator System Cup. It's like, oh, so they've also had spells where they've looked good on paper and it's just fallen apart. Yeah, we can relate to that. That's cool.
Yeah, Duda, ele tá falando que essa história aí do time da Gávea e do Romário, ele falou que deve ser só zoação, porque eles nunca ouviram falar disso. Entendeu? E lá em Londres, né, eles sempre falam dos quatro grandes, que é o Chelsea, que é o Arsenal, que é o West Ham e o Tottenham, né? E eles são tipo assim o patinho feio, né, desses times, porque eles são os quintos e nunca falam sobre, como se tivesse quatro grandes ali no Rio e tivesse o quinto, mas ninguém falava do quinto, entendeu? Because in Rio we have four big teams that always are talked about. You know, so it's almost like having a fifth team, but nobody talks about the fifth team, which is a shame, because Crystal Palace now, it's from my understanding, it was a club that was, you know, struggling between being relegated and coming up and not staying and then being relegated again, and so for a club like Crystal Palace to start to climb up and actually start to challenge some of these other London clubs, I think it's a great thing.
Yeah, we were used to what we call in England a yo-yo club. Up and down, up and down, up and down.
Ele falou que o Crystal Palace é o clube yo-yo, entendeu? Cai e sobe.
Sobe e desce. Sobe e desce. Aqui também não é muito diferente, não. Agora, essa história... É como a minha filha falou. Um torcedor do Flamengo, falando do Romário, um torcedor do Flamengo falou assim, nós somos grandes e vocês são pequenos. E aí a minha filha de 9 anos respondeu o seguinte, nós somos tão pequenos que nós estamos em evidência, vocês são tão grandes e ninguém lembra de vocês. Essa foi a resposta dela.
So Duda was saying that her daughter's 9, and a friend of hers trying to make fun of a friend, because her daughter is also a Botafogo supporter, and her friend is the F team supporter, and he's like, yeah, you guys are small, you guys are a little club, you know, like in Brazil we like to say little club, you guys are a little club. It's like, well, we're so little that everybody talks about us, but nobody cares about you. So coming from a 9-year-old, so I like that. That was good. And
Love
I
that.
saw this. I saw something here on the screen of a guy talking about. Let me just come up over here because I did see. Yes, that right there. So that story is in 1995 we won the national championship, and the Botafogo fans, not only did they storm the airport, we broke through the barriers and we stormed the plane. What do you call it? The runway. We stormed the runway when the plane landed, and as the plane was still kind of going and coming to a stop, we climbed the airplane.
Só a nossa torcida faz isso.
No other team, no other supporters in Brazil have done this. Only us. We're the only team to like really embrace the players in the club like that. Like the players were coming out of the airplane, we were hanging on to the plane, like banging on the windows of the plane, like of the players where they're sitting in their seats, like on the wing of the plane, just banging. Like,
fala para eles que ano passado, pelo nosso acesso e como nós fomos campeões da Série B, nós subimos num ônibus. Fechamos a rua e subimos num ônibus.
Last year, when we won the Brazilian B Championship, we stormed the streets, we closed the streets, and we all stormed and got on top of the bus as the players were coming into our stadium. Even before then, like on the way to the stadium, we closed the streets and we all swarmed the bus and climbed on the bus. So we're a crazy bunch.
Great scenes. This question wasn't on the list, but I thought it was a good one to ask.
What? I'm just kidding.
Your badge.
Okay.
Your badge, the star.
Mm-hmm.
Now I've watched a few of Duda's videos that she's been putting up on Twitter, and it was to do with like the regatta. Mm-hmm. So when was the change to a star, and how did that come about for the Palace viewers that may be watching?
Duda, eles estavam perguntando sobre nosso escudo, sobre nosso símbolo da estrela solitária.
Sim, eu contei a história, eu postei o vídeo lá na quinta-feira. Eu postei o vídeo, inclusive para eles. Tem a legenda nos meus vídeos onde eu conto a história do Botafogo. E na quinta-feira eu postei o vídeo contando sobre a história do escudo.
Você podia repetir só brevemente por que esse escudo?
Então, a estrela solitária, ela deu esse nome por causa da estrela d'alva. Que quando os remadores iam de madrugada para a enseada de Botafogo treinar, era a primeira estrela que eles viam, que era a estrela d'alva, que na verdade é o planeta Vênus brilhando no céu. E aí esse foi o motivo de termos a estrela solitária, porém o contorno é um desenho de contorno suíço, que foi a única coisa que permaneceu, sendo que antes eram só as letras, as iniciais do clube, porém, depois, quando teve a fusão, saiu as letras, se manteve o formato suíço e colocou no lugar das letras entrelaçadas, entrou a estrela solitária, que representa a estrela d'alva por causa dos remadores.
So, Botafogo is a fusion between two separate clubs that were also named Botafogo. So they came to the conclusion, instead of being two separate clubs, let's just become one club. So that's what happened. So during this fusion, what you see here with the star, they used to be just the three letters of the club, like interlaced letters. So then one of the clubs, they had trying to find the actual proper name, but anyways, the rowing team, when they would practice in the morning, it was still dark outside, they used to see the star in the sky, and they used to use the star to follow, which is actually the planet Venus, is a nice little the more you know sort of thing. But so that's why when the fusion happened, they decided to put the star on the crest instead of the letters. So when they fused, because we were fusing the rowing club with the football club all into one. And so the football club had the crest, just like you see, like the shape, the design, and the rowing club, we took the star, so it was just all one big fusion.
Wicked.
E que, inclusive, o time da Lagoa só tem as regatas porque o time do Botafogo era o primeiro e as menininhas ali ficavam paquerando os remadores do Botafogo, e aí, por inveja, o time da Lagoa quis fundar um para poder conquistar as menininhas.
She's saying that the back in the day, Botafogo had the rowing team, and it used to be a good way to pick up girls, because they used to love the rowing guys, always in really good shape. So the F team, who should now be named, they were jealous of that. So they have also the rowing name on their club name, but that's only because they were jealous of the Botafogo man getting the women. So they were like, hey, we got to make one of those for ourselves too.
I rate it.
Ou seja, tudo na base da inveja.
Yeah, jealousy.
We know a thing about rivals copying things from our club.
Shout out the Seaweed Brawlers, as I like to call
No. JC, it goes even deeper than that. It goes back to their nickname.
Yeah, I know. They changed it.
From Dolphins to Seagulls.
Yeah,
because we'd gone from the Glazers to the Eagles. Because we changed our nickname and club colours in '73. Because we had a manager that was known for flamboyance and big cigar, big Malcolm Allison. He changed because we were founded by workers at the building called the Crystal Palace. There used to be a building in London called the Crystal Palace. It burnt down in 1936, I believe. I could be wrong, but it burnt sometime in the 30s. And in '73, he changed the kit colours to red and blue with inspiration from Barcelona, and the eagle was from Benfica. So obviously, we've no connection to either team, but he liked the fact that Barcelona had that stylish red and blue or blue and maroon kit, and Benfica had this stylish eagle on their badge, obviously with players like Eusebio back in the day. Sure. So when we changed our nickname from Glazers to Eagles, and our fans went down to play our friends on the South Coast, and I use the term friends very lightly here, they heard us shouting Eagles, 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 and they were called the Dolphins at the time, but seagulls are very prevalent on that in that city, They changed it from Dolphins to Seagulls to match us, one of the better words. So it's like, what's that? You copying us again, is it? Okay, fair enough. So ever since then, there's just been this kind of kind of flattering and kind of insulting at the same time. So yeah, that's why we don't like him. It's like, really? Biting off another team's style? Okay.
Duda, os rivais dele, igual o nosso rival, copia muitas coisas dele, do Crystal Palace. Então, a equipe deles foi fundada baseado tirou o nome baseado num prédio que tinha lá em Londres, que se chamava Crystal Palace, entendeu? Por isso que o nome do time é assim. E depois, nos anos 70, um cara que era dono do Crystal Palace, ele gostava muito das cores do Barcelona, que era o grená e o azul, e do escudo do Benfica, que tinha a águia. Então ele mudou as cores e mudou o mascote do time para a águia. E esse time que fica ali perto deles ali, o mascote deles era um golfinho. Só que como eles viram que mudou para eles adotaram uma águia, eles adotaram uma gaviota, entendeu? Só para
Ah, não.
I was telling her that about the team changing the mascots and all that, just to be just to pose as Crystal Palace.
O nosso, eles sabem por que é um cachorro e um menino mijando?
Duda was asking if you guys know why our mascots is a dog, and
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, we have our mascot is like I don't even know what the kind of dog it is, because we used to have a dog.
I'm gonna look this up.
Yeah, we used to have a dog.
Não, ele vai pesquisar, não deixa não.
It's like, no, don't search. We'll tell you. Don't search. There used to be this dog that used to come to the game, so basically we adopted it, but way back in the day. But there's also another mascot from Botafogo that is this. That is this. It's controversial now, but it's this boy literally taking a piss. Do you guys know? Dude,
Era do Carlito, não era o cachorro? Era do
Isso.
presidente Carlito.
Does it have the F word team's kit?
Sometimes we Photoshop the kit.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
So the dog was the president's dog at the time. And the dog was also black and white. So there it is.
That makes sense. All right, with just a few questions from the
Go ahead.
comment section, and then we'll look to wrap up. We should do this again. We should definitely do this again.
Não,
So
e é
Moss,
engraçado.
who is not Duda's best friend at the moment, has asked, what are your road kits, so away colors?
A Duda, o seu amigão ali, o Moss, tá perguntando quais são as
Já não
cores do
gostei dele. Não gostei. Fala de Flamengo não. Não gostei dele, não.
Portuguese, but I think I understood that.
Rich, I'm not gonna lie. I think I did as well. I had nothing.
We may need to put subtitles on this just to help people out here.
A Duda, ele tá perguntando pra você quais são as cores do Botafogo na estrada, quando a gente joga fora.
Depende do clube contra quem a gente vai jogar. Às vezes o uniforme é todo preto, dependendo se for, vamos supor, vamos jogar contra o Santos na casa do Santos, que tem as mesmas cores. Ou o Botafogo joga todo de preto, ou possivelmente todo de branco. A maioria dos jogos do ano passado foi todo de branco, porque difere muito, depende muito contra quem o Botafogo vai jogar. Mas em casa, o uniforme é o tradicional, que é o listrado preto e branco.
So she said that it will depend on the club that we play against. Like when we play Santos, for example, they have the same colors, black and white. And so we're not going to go over there and wear a white kit. So we wear an all black kit. So we have two away colors, black and white, but it's either all black or all white. And then our home jersey is a combination of the two with the three stripes. And then usually we have like gray socks and black shorts at home. So in a way, it's all one color, unless, a team has like a black top,
And this,
white bottom.
the play.
Yeah, so that's our home jersey. And that's something that, another thing too, that a Palace fan was asking me, is like, so you guys are just okay with John Textor coming in and changing everything? We were like, no. He's not going to change the club's colors and the club's badge, nothing like that. It was actually put on the contract that he can't do that, because we've had that since 1894. I mean, you want to change something that's been in tradition for that long? No, we weren't going to accept that. So it's always the black and white for home, and then away, it's either all black or all white.
Just to answer Kevin Benson's question, we'll organise a pre-season friendly, and we'll go over to Brazil, because you don't want to come to South London when it's summer. It just rains here all the time. Give me Brazilian winter over London summer any day.
There's no such thing as Brazilian winter.
That's what I'm saying. Give me Brazilian winter over London summer. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I got you. Dude, eles falam que eles preferem ir no Brasil do que os brasileiros irem lá em Londres, porque em Londres só chove.
Ué, aqui tá muito calor. Muito calor. Eu tô querendo trocar de lugar com eles.
Really, really hot. She wants to change places with you. It's super, super hot right now in Brazil.
You do not want to come here. Our weather is terrible.
The weather because Rich and Jordan are in London. I'm in Ireland, but trust me, the weather this side of the no, you don't want to be over here right now.
It might look sunny today, but trust me, in the shade it was cold.
It
was cold.
30 degrees Celsius is not hot. Trust me, for us that's still cold. It's like, oh god, it's still cold.
Eles gostam do calor, pelo amor de Deus, a gente troca de lugar, porque aqui não dá para aguentar, não. Aqui no Rio de Janeiro tá muito quente.
Rio's known for being extremely hot. It's super hot. The summers over there are 40 Celsius, 41, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's pretty hot.
Wow, that is up. Got Bruno Ursa here. So
Bruno Urso. Boa, Bruno. That's Rich. That's the guy that was asking that I told you about. That was asking about Homestead Fanatics. That's a group. That's a Crystal Palace group. Is that
That's
correct?
the Ultras group. Yeah, that's the Ultras
Ai,
group.
TJB.
Yeah. So
Eu fiz.
the
Vamos fazer
TJB. Yeah. The
Vamos
TJB is
fazer
a
um
Botafogo.
TJB nos Estados Unidos agora também?
Já tem, Duda. Já tem.
Oh,
The TJB is a group. It's a Botafogo group, a supporters group that I forgot what Bruno told me, but somehow they have some sort of connection, and they want to connect further. So he was asking, oh yes, there's a Homestead Fanatics in the US. There's a group, a US group of the Homestead,
right.
and the TJB. There's a TJB group in the US. So they want to get together and watch games of other clubs together and stuff like that. So that's why he was asking if you knew anything about that and how to get into contact with them.
You know what? Twitter is a wonderful thing at the moment. It can be the most annoying thing too.
Yeah, there is a Crystal Palace USA account, actually, a Palace in the States account. They would probably know how to get in touch with any American-based HF members, because they're in contact with the Ultras an awful lot, especially with tomorrow's FA Cup tie. Provided we get through that, there'll be a lot of American fans looking to go over for the semi-final, provided we get through. Touch wood. Because I'm getting even more nervous as the game comes in.
Oh, I'm so nervous for tomorrow.
There's a Canadian Palace group as well, isn't there?
Yeah, there's one here in Ireland. There's one in Australia. There's a number in Australia.
I know there's one in Netherlands.
Netherlands, Germany, France. There's a Tog in Japan as well, because we spoke to a Palace fan in Japan as well. So the profile of the club is going up, and obviously South America was an area that the club hadn't really done an awful lot for. But obviously now with a massive link to a club in Brazil, that's going to dramatically change everything, which I was thinking, Jesus, we're moving really smart, both in the window and away from the window. Because for years and years, we didn't know what was going to happen. But with John Textor, he's the type of American investor we thought our other American investors were going to be, spending money. Because the other two, we haven't heard from. We don't know who these people are. Whereas Textor, we've gotten to know him through how he interacts with fans. Because the other two can't be bothered to do that. It's like, what exactly did they bring to the table? But John Textor, we're very fond of, especially his son Addison, because he's really quickly bought into both Palace and Botafogo. If you follow his Twitter, he's big time into both clubs, which is like, Jesus. And some of us have been long suffering. Does this kid know what he's getting into?
Well, yeah, John Textor liked our little celebration of that one goal, and then it got taken down.
You got taken down for copyright.
Yeah.
Well, do you know what? Had he seen the celebrations, if there were any, for that game last season with Ben Teke, that would have been lit.
Oh man!
Because beating them lot with literally getting pressed for 98% of the game, it's like, how have we literally stolen 3 points there? I'm not complaining, but it's like, what? What the?
So let me just translate to Duda real quick, that way she knows what we're talking about. Duda, eles estão fazendo uma resenha assim, falando do Textor, que tem 2 outros investidores americanos também, só que eles não conhecem eles. Eles conhecem só o Textor. Então, assim, o que os outros 2 estão fazendo aqui, que a gente nunca ouviu falar deles, a gente nem sabe o que eles estão fazendo. Eles gostam bastante do Textor e gostam bastante do filho do Textor. Que o filho do Textor, ele realmente adotou o Crystal Palace e adotou o Botafogo. Não sei se você já viu o Twitter do filho dele, do John Textor. Toda hora ele bota coisa do Botafogo e do Crystal Palace.
Sim, eu li também, acho que 1 ou 2 horas antes de entrar aqui, eu tinha lido que o John Textor falou que ele não comprou o Botafogo para vender. Ele falou, vai ser meu até eu morrer, e quando eu morrer vai ser para os meus filhos, é algo que eu peguei para dar de herança para eles. Falando, né, em relação ao Botafogo. Isso já nos dá uma segurança, porque sabemos que o Botafogo não vai passar de mão em mão. Né? Nós temos, pelo menos eu obtive essa segurança de saber que o Botafogo vai estar numa mão única, né, que é do John, e assim que porventura acontecer algo com ele, vai ser o filho que vai assumir. Então, ele comprou, entre aspas, o Botafogo para ser algo de herança para a família. E ele mesmo disse, é meu até morrer. Quando eu morrer, vai para os meus filhos.
She's saying that she was aware of John Texter's son, retweeting and posting about Palace and Botafogo. And something that she said that gives her some peace of mind about John Texter is that he owns such a large percentage of the club that in the interview that he said that it's not a club that I'm going to buy to resell. It's a club that I want to buy and make a legacy out of, even for my children later on after I die. So she's happy to know at least for now, that's what he's thinking. We never know what he's going to be thinking 10, 15 years from now. But if he keeps on with the same idea, then it's great for us because we won't be bouncing between owners. And that's a great thing.
Sure.
To quickly answer Bruno's question, Palace Elmo, my little brother, actually does know some of the Homestyle fanatics because he got in with them for a couple of games when he was a season ticket holder. So he doesn't know a lot of them personally because a lot of them change in and out. But yeah, there is some affiliation there, but no direct affiliation because I don't think any of us would last in Block F because it gets a bit mental in Block F these days.
It does.
When it was Block B, it was kind of okay because it was in the corner. But yeah, the middle of the Homesdale. No, I don't know about that.
Look at Moss. Moss is accepting defeat. Olha aí o Moss, o Duda. 2-1 para você, ó.
Virou meu fã, né?
He became her fan.
Muito obrigada.
Oh man, there's been so much
This
comments.
for you.
Moss, I think you've made a friend.
My fan.
There's been so much comments, so apologies if we haven't been able to get through to all of them. We need to do this again. We definitely need to do this again.
Definitely.
There's just so much more to learn about your great club and vice versa. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the platform first to promote your Twitter. Hopefully we get people coming to follow you on Twitter.
Duda, a gente vai terminar a live aqui, só que ele quer fazer outra, porque tem muita coisa para conversar. Só que ele tá te dando espaço para você falar sobre o seu Twitter e suas páginas, o que você quiser falar.
Ah, sim. No meu Twitter eu posto vídeos contando a história do Botafogo. Meu Instagram também, que tem a história, que é @história.do-Botafogo. Todos os vídeos estão lá com legenda para vocês, torcedores do Cristal. Tive esse cuidado e esse carinho de colocar a legenda para vocês entenderem a história do Botafogo desde o início até aqui. Então, tem lá no meu Twitter, que é Duda_90, e no Instagram, que é @história_do-Botafogo.
So Duda was saying that she's got a Twitter and Instagram at Duda_90, o Twitter.
Isso, _90.
Tá. Twitter is Duda_90, and then on the Instagram is
história.do-Botafogo.
História, which is history in Portuguese, do, which means of, and then Botafogo.
Yeah.
Dude, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on, and
agradeço demais a oportunidade.
Just thank you very much for having me on.
Lovely. Just before we come to you, Pedro.
Well, Rich,
this isn't happening.
They can take Jordan Ayew. They can take Jordan Ayew, but at least say no. No. Well, actually, no. Let me take it back. I wouldn't wish Jordan Ayew on Botafogo. I'm not that cruel. But Elise, no.
No, Elise. Yeah.
No, sorry.
Well, thank you guys very much for having me on. I really appreciate it. It's the second time. It's going to be the second of many, hopefully. Rich, you've always been so kind to answering everything on WhatsApp, on Twitter. If you guys want to follow me, I have a YouTube channel, which is Glorious Botafogo, which is the same thing on Twitter. But on Twitter, I couldn't put the whole thing because I didn't have enough. So it's Glorious Bota, BOTA, and then WT for YouTube, which is my Twitter. And I also have Instagram. And Instagram, it is Glorious Botafogo. So if you want to find me there, I don't use Instagram that much, but I do try to remember to post there. But it's mainly Twitter and YouTube. So if you want to catch the videos, and the videos are in English, and I have the subtitles in Portuguese. And Duda is the other way around. Duda has the videos in Portuguese with the subtitles in English when you're watching her stuff on Twitter. So that's it. Thank you guys for having me on. I really appreciate it.
No, it's been brilliant. Yes, Nate.
Eagle-eyed Nate, as always, find me on Eagle-eyed Football, mostly talking ish with JC. We bring on tomorrow. That's all I got to say.
Okay, I am nervous.
Well, yeah, as always, the @ is there, but this isn't a stream. This isn't a stream for us. This is a stream for Botafogo. So subscribe to Glorious Botafogo, man.
Absolutely.
And make sure to follow Duda on Twitter. Yeah, we need to do this again because the comments have just been crazy. Like, I know we haven't been able to get through all of them, so I apologize. But this is the first, second of many. Absolutely. For those who are watching, please drop a like on the whatever channel you're watching on. Drop a like.
Subscribe to both channels.
Subscribe to both channels, and we'll continue bringing out the collaborations for you guys, and maybe some future watch-alongs too. That's definitely in the.
That'd be lit.
That'd be cool.
So
that'd be nice, especially when we actually have a team.
Right now... queria dizer pro Jordan que eu queria trocar minha água pelo Monster que ele tava bebendo aí.
Jordan, she says if you want to swap your Monster for her water because she needs that Monster right now.
No, it's finished.
Acabou, já tomou tudo já. Pessoal do Brasil, entra aí no YouTube do Eagle-eyed Football e se inscrevam lá, por favor. Porque a live aqui tá no meu canal e no canal deles também. Beleza? I was just saying for them to go to your channel because even though this is live on my YouTube as well, it's live on yours. So they need to go to your channel and subscribe there as well.
Yeah, appreciate that. Really, really appreciate that. And now, Pedro, honestly, thank you for the translating as well. To remember everything that has been said, and to run it back to obviously to do the massive props to you too.
Thank you.
Massive props. But yeah,
we're gonna have to start learning Portuguese.
Oh yes.
Vai ter que aprender o português.
I can speak French, so it's not like I don't know any other languages, but Portuguese is definitely on the list now. Oh Christ, I've got a list like Hamza. Oh, son of a.
It's not too. I mean, it is different, but there are similarities.
Yeah.
There's similarities.
It's closer to Spanish than it would be French. But I know what you're saying, Pedro.
Lads, that's our homework. Learn Portuguese.
Well, I failed my Spanish GCSE. So
I got an A in French, so I'm calm. Languages on because I had to learn Irish over here, and mate, that looked like Orc language when I moved over here. I was like, what? Nah, it's cool. No, but we'll try and learn a couple of phrases in Portuguese.
Yeah.
Big up Moses. Big up Rich Soul Nate that created Ian Bill. If Arsenal beat Palace in 2 weeks, I'll be in your class.
Okay, firstly,
that's a bit mad.
That's
I'm
very
not from
personal.
Croydon, so that's a bit of a swing, but
Yeah.
Oh man, guys.
As for Ian Beale, I didn't realize mixed race people are like Ian Beale. That's a bit. But it's okay. These Arsenal fans, they win one game and they're winning the league. So, there's levels to being a fan, and Arsenal fans love a meltdown. So look at Ty. Anfield 89. All right, mate, calm down.
Have you got an invisible team?
Oh, guys, listen, everyone, have an amazing evening.
Sweet.
Palace, please win tomorrow. We out.
Fan cams in the fan zone. Up the Palace.
Up the Palace. And Fogo!
Fire!
Vamos,